And his opponent, spawning down on the bottom left, it is DisK for Apprentice Esports.
What type of DisK, Steadfast?
Us. A DisK us.
What are we discussing?
The throwing distance.
And this would be the point where I bring up Trigger versus DisK yesterday, but I'm not going to do that because I'm still not over it. It's fine. Instead, we're going to talk about how this is Blackburn, and therefore 99 times out of 100, you'll see single gate expand, except DisK is not going for that.
Yeah, this is very bizarre. I gotta say, I'm surprised. Does he have the Geralt approach where he just hates low ground expansion? He just hates the one gate expo and refuses to go for anything other than 2-gate. That's what I'm wondering about. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's actually one of the one thing I got out of the whole is DisK ready? What's happening? Is he was saying, yeah, look, I'm okay with playing Astrea because Astrea does not like fast expand Phoenix Wars, and apparently DisK doesn't like that. Regardless of how good he feels, he doesn't feel. He just doesn't like it. So that would explain why DisK is not going for 1-gate fast expand on this map, because he doesn't want to opt in to the insanities that are, well, we saw it with the Max Pack Showtime series the other day. Just these, okay, we're going to get one more Phoenix and maybe we're going to see something, and it's 14 minutes of minimal interaction until you have one big fight that ends the game, which is incredibly technical, don't get me wrong, but it does end in one big fight. DisK has always been one of these players that he has excellent blink control, probably top 2 NA, top 3 micro, right? And he does want to be maybe a little bit more active in the mid game.
Yeah, he's certainly a big fan of that. We will be seeing, by the way, in order to make this work, in order for this to be okay, you got to go for that cancel, build, cancel on that pylon to prevent the super fast expansion here. But the Nexus is going to go down, and that's going to be much faster for Astrea. Usually, as the opposing Protoss, you cut your 3rd and 4th gateway units in order to kind of mitigate the disadvantage that you find yourself with. But yeah, no, it's... For me, I enjoy the nuances of PvP Phoenix versus Phoenix, but I understand that it is not for everyone. It is very much a slow burn, and part of the reason that I've enjoyed it so much is that I've gotten to enjoy watching specifically Max Packs being very good at it. But we got to talk about this bit of an aggressive move right here. It's 2 Stalkers versus a Zealot, a Sentry, and a Stalker, and if there was flat ground, DisK could maybe get something done, but this is the whole reason why we see a 1-gate expand on this map. There's a ramp in the natural, so he can't get anything done.
Ooh, this is interesting though. We have a Stargate coming down, and even before the Stargate is done, there's a Twilight on the way as well, which I guess leads into DT play. This is not something that we see all that often in PvP. Now, Steadfast, it would make sense in part if Astrea had opted into the Stargate wall idea, which is so common when you build this, but of course Astrea didn't do that because he knows his opponent went for 2-gate expand. So instead, Stargate is hidden. It's not something that Astrea is really going to get scouted upon. So the idea of I'm going to get a quick Twilight afterwards doesn't really, it's not really pulling the wool over anyone's eyes.
Yeah, this is just basically ends up being a later Stargate. And like you said, there's a chance that it'll be, because the Twilight Council is very similarly timed to when it would normally be. It's just that the Stargate is much later. And I mean, this could have been good if there wasn't a Sentry, but it will still get scouted. Now, Oracle is obviously still a very useful unit. Oh, man. But here's the big story, is that very quick gold base from Astrea. That's something that could be a big deal in this game.
Yeah, we were talking in the break about how DisK is really one of these players. He's probably the most standard PvP player, or just Protoss in general, that North America has. Astrea is known for his Astrea builds. He's done crazy stuff. So that is a storyline we're watching about how standard versus non-standard players get. But that also means that if you know your opponent is just going to do the same thing, blink, stalker, expand, whatever, you can just go balls to the wall and do whatever you can, just do the weird counter, under the assumption that your opponent's not going to throw a proxy DT or something strange like that out that'll really mess with you.
Certainly, yeah. That's a really nice area that you can take advantage. Is if your opponent is too predictable, you just start throwing weird stuff at them, and things that are going to take advantage of that predictability. And a very quick gold base like this is it is pretty good to take advantage of that because it's not going to be easy to punish here for DisK, but he did scout it very quickly. Now, Astrea, I don't think this is just straight, like, gold base. I think this is going to be a very aggressive move off of this. I think he just wants a ton of Blink Stalkers to start this off.
I'm looking at this build from Astrea, and it has worked out. The amount of stuff that he's been able to squeeze out in the early game is insane. He's up 10 workers. He has more gateways. He's 6 gateways to 2. His Blink has timed out just the same, and he's got equal stalker count. Yeah, you know, he doesn't have as many sentries because he did opt for that Oracle play, but he has pretty much everything he could possibly want, and this stasis trap, at least, oh, nice job there, DisK, with the Blink, and now we're going to see the Stalkers try to get aggressive on the goal.
Force fields?
Punish Astrea.
Oh.
Force field's good! Oh, he gets all 3. Minigun, is that you?
That was a really, really nice setup. He is going to be able to find a ton of workers right here, and the shield battery will complete, but oh my goodness, a very aggressive Blink forward. Now, there is going to be battery overcharge, but a lot of these Stalkers are trapped. Great positioning right here from DisK. Astrea is going to blink across with the rest of these Stalkers, but I'm liking this fight for DisK a lot, even with the battery overcharge, helping out a lot of those Stalkers. DisK, he's got to be careful. He does need to back away pretty... Well, actually, no, he's going to continue to aggressively warp in.
Oh man, the Stalker pathing's so weird from Astrea, like opting to just run around the right side to maybe go for a flank. And we got to point out, Astrea does have more gateways. It is 6 gateways to 5 now, as DisK is finally rounding out his gateway count, but technically, Astrea does have the ability to reinforce more, and we're seeing that right here, right now, as he just has more Stalkers on the field. So he's going to try to punish this now from DisK, trying to really knock this army down. And even as he's lost a lot of workers, sure, he still has the gold steadfast. Those probes are worth a little bit more, but as more Stalkers warp in, once again, Astrea forced back here, and the entire goal of that runaround was to be able to have Blinks defensively, be able to really shove DisK back here, but DisK's not allowing that to happen, so the Stalkers of DisK just doing a fantastic job. Meanwhile, Oracle in the main base, it goes for a stasis trap, gets 2 probes, that's it. And DisK, despite the tempo he's been able to build for himself here, he is falling behind. He's 10 army supply behind. The worker supply is still there. The gold base really showing its effect in this game.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is that DisK does have a very quick +1, and Astrea never built a forge. So if they keep fighting for a while, it could start to really swing in DisK's favor. And the position he's got at the bottom of the ramp is really difficult for Astrea to deal with. The concave is quite a bit better. Astrea really doesn't want to take this fight. DisK with some just really nice, actually both players with some good blink micro, but the superior concave is a big deal here. Ooh, battery overcharge gonna get popped. Will this be enough? I think the answer is yes, for Astrea to push this back.
The aggregate HP of these Stalkers as well from DisK, they're just all lower, but we talked about DisK's ability with blink control. In PvP specifically, it's like, okay, Nina's number 1 in NA, probably, just in terms of blink. DisK is number 2, and he is showing that here. He has won this fight so dramatically, even before +1 is done, even as the Stalkers had less HP. He's gonna break this third base. Now the gold, not allowed to mine anymore, but that stasis steadfast, it is gonna shut down every little bit of mining at DisK third. So at the end of the day, at least for a moment, the mining is roughly similar.
Yeah, but the problem is Astrea still can't mine from this gold, and he hasn't been able to for so long. He has lost so many workers here. DisK will be able to start mining again very, very soon. There we go, already doing so with the natural. Oh, and sorry, at the third. Looks like he might have overpulled probes over to that base, but he has taken control of this gold base. Astrea is starting to run out of options here.
He really, like, we're seeing him, he pulls the workers back, he realizes he can't hold, he says, I'm gonna mine a little bit more, maybe shield battery overcharge allows me to mine, which is not a good position for a Protoss player to be in, and Astrea is stuck here. Oh, I do like this, the Adept Harass, although it looks like Warpins are gonna deal with it. Astrea is stuck. He does not have a forge, he does not have +1, he does not even have charge on the way. He is ride or die on these Stalkers, and he has 15 less supply of them. He's 4 Stalkers down. The Oracle has truly not found enough, and we're not seeing Astrea really able to go and expand elsewhere. And DisK also, he said, oh yeah, you know, Astrea, I like that move of yours. Those Adepts in my third and my natural are fantastic. Let me do the same to you. And it feels like, again, just because of the compositions here, that's going to be a little bit better for Astrea, but Astrea is going to find some Stalkers running back home. He says, okay, time to go for a base trade. I cannot force you back in traditional way. Let me force you back through a recall. But even still, now he's going to lose some Stalkers on the retreat.
Yeah, I wonder how many it will be right here. Oh, Astrea needs to blink. He needs to blink, like, right now. DisK does lose, no, just a little bit of mining time on that third, but now the Zealots are going to get on top of this gold base. Charge going to be finishing in just a couple of seconds. DisK is still on the chase here. The stalker count does actually favor Astrea, but they're not all together, I don't think. And this is starting to look very, very scary here for Astrea. DisK really running away with the, well, is this an overextension? There's no reinforcements.
This is such an interesting game. I mean, you look at it, the tempo, the upgrades, the mining, it's all been in DisK's favor. But then Astrea, he's able to find a position where there's a shield battery. He's able to find a better concave. And the Oracle just continues to find so much value in this game. Really, it is the Oracle that is keeping Astrea in the game. And Astrea is doing a fantastic job making sure the moment DisK responds, he pulls it back. He says, no, I need this. But I'm worried because, again, we talked about this. Charge is done. The gold base is starting to mine out despite how much disruption DisK has found. He has Immortals on the way. He has all of this stuff that just makes it so that even if Astrea right now has bought himself a 10 army supply lead, has bought him a 9 stalker lead, that doesn't matter as much when we're going to have lots of charge lots, when we're going to have Immortals on the field +2. But Astrea is going to try to take a fight before that is ready. So he goes for seesawing, but the stalkers are not all there. He's kind of stuck in the slow zone right now. He's got to retreat backwards, but it's also just a little bit scary, Steadfast. That choke is the thing that Astrea is relying on right now.
Yeah, the +2 weapons is going to be huge once this comes online. And Astrea, you mentioned it earlier, he has not had a forge for this entire time. DisK, like, trying to fight with a 2 upgrade disadvantage is so brutal. Like, it is just an absolute nightmare to try and take a fight. Nice bit of harassment coming on down. We do have to note, by the way, that gold base is starting to run dry. Oh, and Astrea might get caught a little bit here by the aggressive move from Blink, from DisK, pardon me.
DisK does blink forward, so it's okay, Steadfast. And, eventually, being down upgrades, there's a style where you do get the gold and you get the 4th, and then you add disruptors. You say, my upgrades don't matter. Spell damage transcends all upgrades. But Astrea is not there yet. He just added his Robo in this game. He's getting observers. We don't see a Robo Bay. And the shield battery overcharge is done, and even worse. DisK is found inside track. He can now look to punish the natural. He can now try to punish this 4th base. Is he going to find a lot of probes, which, if those probes don't start mining on the 4th base, doesn't really matter because they're mined out elsewhere. But this base is going to go down. Astrea forced to cancel. Now, we do have to consider DisK is still only on 3 bases 13 minutes, and he does not have the most mining in his main or his natural. But that is even worse the case for Steadfast or for Astrea. You mentioned the fact his gold base is mining out. But DisK opts to return home, and this buys time for Astrea. 2nd Robo on the way, Robo Bay on the way, and this Immortal Charge Lot army is really not the best against mass disruptors if Astrea gets there.
That is the big if, though, isn't it? We do see an aggressive blink forward coming in. Once again, DisK does not want to let go of the initiative that he has. It's so funny because he's still down in army supply just by a little bit, but it feels like he's been ahead in this game for like such a long time. But like you said, the disruptors, they can change everything. They can absolutely just delete entire armies. Obviously, the Blink Stalkers can do a good job of disrupting them. Man, this Oracle, 18 kills. That is just ridiculous.
This Oracle, not only does it have 18 kills, it denied all the mining on DisK's 3rd base for a solid 40 seconds. It is the singular reason why Astrea is still in this game, as odd as it is to say with everything else that's been happening there. But, nice catch on a couple harassing Adepts. Now Astrea, he forces the cancel on the gold. And also, do we call this upper right a proxy base? It's not really in the typical expansion pattern, but okay, here's the thing. We're finally having disruptors on the field, Steadfast. And that's where things get scary. I don't know that DisK has seen this just yet. I don't actually see... He has 1 observer. I don't know where it is right now. But if Astrea is going to be able to sneak... Oh, there we go. The blink is done. But, disruptors, they're just not right where they need to be to punish it. And a disruptor shot. Okay. Got to be misclicked there from Astrea. I thought Astrea was going to try to bait out the disruptor shot. Wait for the Stalkers blowing forward and then just hit him with the wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Stalkers run forward, trying to knock 1 disruptor down. They do, but they do still trade heavily for it. And Astrea has been able to secure his 4th base now. That is not something that DisK can say. So eventually the economy of Astrea is really going to start to power up again.
Yeah, and you mentioned it a while ago. DisK still hasn't taken a 4th base. He has been stuck on 3 bases for so long, and he's starting to mine out even of his 3rd, which was not mining for, a decent period of time. He needs to make something happen right here, right now, or he is going to be just unable to compete. But I like this multi-prong coming in with a Warpin in the main, going to be able to deny this newest base. Oh, the disruptor shot. Oh, it only catches 1 Immortal, I think. That one does get another one, though. And I mean, a lot of probes going down. Astrea, well, he just took a huge blow to his economy, but it looks like the Oracle is counterattacking on the other side of the map. DisK going to be trying to warp in once again. This Oracle had 22 kills. I don't even know what to say about this game anymore. It's just getting out of control.
This Oracle is insane. You said DisK had to make something happen, Steadfast. I'd argue that killing the fourth base, killing 23 probes, that's making something happen. But I thought for a second Astrea was going to be able to take the fight up into that concave and just hit him with enough disruptors that he would be able to trade army for economy. But now here come the Stalkers blinking forward. Is there enough? Is DisK going to get the target fire on that last one? No, he does not. The Stalkers fall, and now Astrea a 20 army supply lead, down to upgrades, +1 done soon, but he loses so many of disruptors. And Steadfast, we got to point this out. Astrea is barely mining 600 minerals a minute. The disruptors are going to not even be able to knock down these zealots for now. And yeah, +1's going to be done soon. But the Stalkers, they blink forward. Only one disruptor in this army of Astrea right now. And that is not an army that Astrea can really contest. Not with these immortals, not with the upgrade lead. But at least the run by has been dealt with for now. And if Astrea maybe takes the fight the next 30 seconds before this economic advantage really starts to snowball, maybe that's his way back.
Yeah, everything is about this gold base right now. DisK, if he holds it, he will almost certainly run away with this game. If Astrea can't deny it, he still has a decent shot in this game. And he is going to set up to at least deny mining for a while. DisK needs to pull these probes on out of here. This game has been so razor's edge for like 12 minutes now, and it's felt like either player could have or should have won during that period of time. Ooh, an aggressive blink forward, but it is not going to get punished, not just yet. Astrea will get a counter blink. He's holding his disruptor shots. He's only got 3. They need to be everything.
That they do, but for now he's going to own the high ground. He has denied every... Oh, man, Observer going down is such a big thing in this game because DisK needs to know where the disruptor shots are coming from, if they're coming, what's happening. And he cannot see that right now as DisK loses out on that fourth base once again. 12 workers go down. We're both at around 30 workers, 25, 30 workers in a 17-minute game, which is just absolutely bonkers. And that number is going to decrease because Zealots find their way into the natural, and this is just going to force a recall. Astrea, this slim little bit of mining that he has really is everything, as you said. So 6 more workers. He's at 18, and yeah, his tech is better. Yeah, he's up 20 army supply. Oh, I think he just found the warp prism right there, and that is going to make a significant difference. Now he doesn't have to worry about the run by City Warp and Stalks. Blink forward. One Immortal goes down, second one, third one as well, and the Disruptors are doing such a good job of zoning. DisK cannot really punish this just yet. So now it is +1 Blink Stalkers with Disruptors versus just +2 Blink Stalkers. Astrea somehow still with that 30 army supply lead. DisK not really able to take that mining base, and now Astrea blinking on forward, sensing he's got something here, but the Disruptors are starting to fall. Good target fire there from DisK right now, but Astrea now blinks on forward. He's forcing DisK to make something happen. He's up 40 army supply, and he takes this game. Hot damn.
It all came down to the Immortals right there. The Immortals what was allowing DisK to continue to take those stand-up fights, even with the Stalker number disadvantage, even with those Disruptors there. It was meaning Astrea could not just pounce on him, but that move where he just jumps in and jumps the Disruptor, or jumps the Immortals, was absolutely everything. That took all of the stand-up fighting power out, or the overwhelming fighting power out of the equation, and Astrea manages to take a nail-biting game number 1.
I need to go trim my nails afterwards because they're all gone after that game. I cannot believe Astrea maintained that army supply lead. He did the entire game because for the last 6 minutes, Astrea was not trading as well, it didn't look like. I mean, I was trying to keep an eye on resources lost, and it was always 1 to 2K in DisK's favor. And for a large portion of the rest of that game, DisK was mining more too. So it's actually funny. If you look at the end of game screen, you just realize that DisK averaged about double the resources unspent in that game, which may or may not have had something to do with that. I don't know. I wasn't really looking as well as I should have. But, I mean, if that's what we're going to get for game 1, Steadfast, please, just give me another. Let's get into game 2 as quick as we can. I don't even want to come down. Just get into 2,000 atmospheres and inject some more into that, please.
Yeah, just stick it in our veins. This was a wild game number 1. I thought after he forced out that recall that this was like, I thought this was DisK's game. But, oh man, I'm rewatching that fight with the Immortals being left to their own devices. If he doesn't blink aggressively to try and punish just 4 Stalkers that were outside of his gold base, I really feel like DisK could have actually counterblinked on top of Astrea's army. He might have been able to just jump on the disruptors because there was not like Astrea had recalled a ton of stalkers, right? Like I think that was actually maybe DisK's moment, if anything.
It was like 8 stalkers, I think, that were recalled, and we got to also remember because of that, because of DisK trying to punish that, the War Prism was left out a little bit, and then Astrea understood that he could commit with his entire army. He could go almost YOLO with those disruptor balls because he didn't have to worry about having to prepare something for the defense, for some sort of run by that really had been causing him thorns, had been giving just him conniptions all game. I also want to point out, I really thought Astrea was going to take a significant lead when he first got disruptors out because it looked like he was baiting the blink, and then he just didn't react and he kind of lost the gold. So despite that one fight that DisK lost, it felt like even without that, absolutely, I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I do know that Steadfast, we're about ready to get into our second game here. I cannot believe how insane game number 1 was because, oh my goodness, such a razor's edge. But in the upper right now, in the blue for Alpha X, he's somehow up 1, Astrea.
And his opponent showcasing some excellent play, but not able to close it out. It is Apprentice Esports DisK.
Shout out to Niall for showing us patience.
Oh, he did the little like bow right there. That was like a curtsy. That was cute. Just a little zoom in, zoom out. Y'all putting up with our shenanigans throughout the previous many weeks. I'm sure. I mean, I'm exhausted, and I haven't casted anywhere near the amount that Niall has been observing. So big shout out to him.
Yeah, casting, at least, when you're on the mainstream, you get breaks for the most part. You get, time on, time in, time off. And Niall is the same observer for every single game, every single day for 3 weeks straight. And I mean, it's Steadfast, you can talk about it. That takes a toll on your body. If you don't have your observer hotkeys just right, suddenly your right shoulder is seized because you've just been pressing down on what button for the last 5 hours and you've been tensing up because the game gets tight.
Yeah, it's I mean, that whole game felt like a tensing up for like 13, 14 minutes straight of just raw action where one misstep from either player could have spelt doom. So congratulations to Astrea for really, I would say, playing from behind for quite a while and managing that very, very well. And that's the kind of thing that's going to get you to Valencia.
Is that the type of thing that you can do if you have wings? You can ascend, you can fly up. You're an angel, maybe?
Ah, there it is. I was like, where are you going with this? Yes, exactly. That's how you can maximize your angelic form.
You ever read that book series called Maximum Ride?
I've never even heard of it.
It was a series, like a young adult series, where like some kids get experimented on, so they become like the traditional, like they're humans with wings, right, and some other stuff, super strength, and so they become kind of like angels. Ooh. And I'm always amused by this because we have Max Angel, and Maximum in the title character of those books went by Max and was an angel. So, Max Angel here, clearly named after that YA book series that was published after he was born.
Well, of course, he transcends time. We all knew that.
Of course.
For a second, I thought Astrea was actually going to do something with this pylon. I don't know if it was a fake in an effort to draw DisK to the low ground so the stalkers could pounce. But either way, it's not going to actually be anything. It will just be an expansion out of both players, and Astrea going to go for the Twilight Council.
His probe is, I guess that's just going to be for a scouting probe. Okay, I was like, his probe is kind of still hanging around. But now it's just going to be 4 stalkers versus 2 sentries, 2 stalkers, and a shield battery. But as more stalkers come out, it looks like Astrea, he's going to bleed off some energy on the shield battery, but that is something. That's not really all that much. And, well, then now he's got to be careful because with these sentries, 4 fields, and the stalker counts being the same, he does not want to lose a stalker right now. And you say he's not going to do something, well, Steadfast, please don't lie to the viewers. That's not okay.
Well, yeah. They won't notice, right? Those came across the map. You all saw it. That's what happened, and I won't hear otherwise. Good defense right here from DisK. I always love when the Protoss player, waits until the very last second to cancel the Adept Shade, because it gives me heart palpitations, which means it must do it to the other players.
That's kind of funny,
I'm sorry, go on.
I don't know if you caught the Neeb interview where you're saying, yeah, it's much more stressful as a viewer. He's talking about Blink Stalker Disruptor interactions, but it's much more stressful as a viewer as we will see one of these Stalkers go down. He catches the Adepts as well. Nice move out there from DisK, just oversupplying his army for a little bit to try to punish that Astrea. But he says, yeah, it's much more stressful watching it than it ever is playing it, because at least when I'm playing it, I have some control over things, and I can just choose not to look at it if it's really bad. Where...
So, go on, that's amazing.
So he said, you know what, I can't remember whether I'm like, this is just where I thought he was going to go, and he didn't say that, or he actually did say that, and it was amazing. Regardless, Astrea has got some invisible men in this game, number 2, on the way. Notice he had a pylon up, but it gets canceled because it does get scouted. But, as they say, Steadfast, when you're playing a game of StarCraft and you happen to pick Protoss, play DTs. That's when playing StarCraft, Dark Shrine.
Yep. Yeah, that's the expression, and it's never been different. Anything else is like the Berenstain Bears, like it's just revisionist history. So, good scout on the Dark Shrine. I mean, it is done before his robotic facility is done, but that's going to let him know, yeah, I need to chrono boost the crap out of an observer here, and he will be able to get that out pretty darn quickly, and there's no close enough pylon to actually do anything with this, so it's going to be a nice little advantage for DisK. He's got a much faster third Nexus. His blink is a little bit later, but I don't know if Astrea can actually really get anything actually done with this.
I mean, his Stalker count is pretty pitiful. Now, he may be able to knock the pylon down, but even then, it's not really going to work out. But I do like what Astrea is doing here. He says, okay, yeah, my Dark Shrine has been scouted. I understand this. Not really worth worrying about. I'm just not going to build any DTs. My DT is going to be useful at some point in this game, I got to assume, as the game goes late. So I'm going to force you to react to the possibility of Dark Templar, and I'm just going to build a robo and get my third base eventually and chrono my probes up and just do everything else that I would want to do, because I know you're going to have to react to the concept of the pressure I can put on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something that is happening. He's building quick cannons. He's, he's playing defensively. And that, in theory, should allow for Astrea to be a little bit greedy. The thing is, DisK has already had the quicker Nexus. He's already been up workers by a little bit. Nice quick blink back there from DisK. Not going to get jumped on by Astrea kind of moving around and taking advantage of the fact that those Stalkers had to be on one side on their own. So nice theoretical move, like nice game theory from Astrea. Good quick reaction time from DisK, though, to prevent any damage from it.
Yeah, and we also got to remember, I mean, it's one of these situations where if Astrea built the DTs, they wouldn't get much done 99 times out of 100, 999 times out of 1,000. So it's just, you do the best possible move out of that and you go from there. But now here comes DisK. And this is not an easy army. It is a significant Stalker lead right now, at least in the Stalkers that we have right here. And Shield Battery, it is done, at least still will have Overcharge, but actually Sentries are getting caught at the front. Guardian Shield is doing a pretty nice job of soaking so much of this damage, but as the force fields will end, actually, aggressive blink there from Astrea. We're going to have to see now whether DisK looks to punish, and the answer is no. So third base stays alive. Sentry counts get mostly reset. DisK keeps one of his alive, but doesn't have a lot of energy in it. One thing I want to point out, though, Astrea is just skipping charge. He says, I'm not going to go for it. I kind of thought we might see maybe quick Robobay into Disruptors, but instead, he's going DC Blink instead of charge, which is not something I think I've seen.
I feel like Astrea might have done something akin to that recently. He's always been a bit of a fan of, the very, very high mobility style, but he usually, I feel like, does get charge with it. Either way, this feels like a very Astrea move to me in general. But you talked about double Robo Disruptor. That's what we're going to be seeing DisK going for. And a very quick fourth base. DisK doing a lot of things at once. Does start up his +2 weapons very quickly. I'm liking DisK's position a lot in this game number 2.
It's kind of funny. I talked to Astrea before the match. I said, what you doing? How are you prepping for this? And he said, I'm kind of pretty confident about DisK. I'm just going to play my standard stuff. So yes, we're seeing the standard. We're seeing standard stuff out of Astrea right now. Absolutely, folks. Don't question it. It's okay. I guess if the stuff you do is weird and that's your standard, okay, fine, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like like when you play as wildly and as madly as Max Angel does, it's hard to say that you have like a standard, quote unquote, but it's a move that he loves to make, you know, and he's been making it a little bit recently. And you can get a lot done with that. Like if you can distract on one side with some blink DTs, move in on another. Now in this case, he's actually going in the same place at once. But of course, DisK is very well prepared for this at the moment. But he could move out, and if he does, and Astrea moves in at the right moment, this could be a high percentage play, you know?
And one thing
and it looks like that's exactly what might happen.
Oh man, yeah, Astrea, he's got the moves, he's got the eyes, he's gonna be able to. Oh wait, he's used Blink, but he's gonna blink on top. Oh. Okay, ooh, coming off cooldown, he's good. That disruptor falls, and now DisK now forced back here, but now what he's doing is he's dragging the entire army right, and he's got a second hit squad. 5 DTs outside of that third base area that he's maybe gonna look to do something with, but looks like actually nothing right now. Man, Steadfast, I thought that was the 500 IQ play, right? You move in as the army moves out, you drag them all over to his fourth, and then you move in with your DTs. You're like, psych, the second round is where it gets problematic, and looks like he's doing that anyways. He's just being a little bit more patient than I gave him credit for. So now here come the DTs, find their way on in. We notice DisK sees this immediately. It's so cool to be able to look at their perspectives. So we saw his camera go there immediately, really not finding much done. But Astrea, he's moving on. RoboBay on the way now. Eventually he's going to move into disruptors, but it's going to be 8 disruptors to 0 pretty quickly.
Well, maybe not 8, but it is certainly, we're already at 4 to 0. And that is a scary situation. Both players on point with their +3 weapons, which is good. Ooh, quick second forge from DisK. I say quick in a relative sense. There are observers for both sides. And okay, Astrea will kind of avoid those shots. Nice job. Something very nice, by the way, we got to point out, DisK has had an MVP observer on that left side, and that's why he's been able to answer all the moves of Astrea. Ooh, but there is nothing to protect this cannon, and it will get taken out very quickly right there. That's going to force a recall. Nice move from Astrea. He couldn't find anything at the third base, but he will get a little bit done at the natural. And he recalls out to save 3 of the 5 DTs after swiping down a cannon and 8 probes. Not bad.
Steadfast, you're telling me that the Angel forced DisK to get canonized?
Oh my god.
Anyways, oh wait, those, yeah, look at this. Disruptors are not paying attention, so 2 go down pretty easily, and I've been keeping an eye on things to see whether it was truly going to be 8 to 0, and it still has that chance. We got 6 to 0 right now, 7th one on the way, but Astrea, while he has the tech for it, he's not really heart palpitations.
Yep, that's them showing right up.
And Niall, do me a favor, please. We need to do the thing that Need was talking about. Just don't look at it. I need my heart to calm down. But actually, here we have DisK once again getting aggressive. That is just so many stars and a decent amount of disruptors as well. But Astrea, he owns the vision. The Zelnaga Tower does such a great job of allowing him to take these trades that he might otherwise want to take. But he still has to be very careful, because once the balls start going out, you just got to blink and run away, because it's just almost infinite zoning once you hit 7.
Yeah, it's so much. And now we see the aggressive blink forward from DisK. He's going to be able to get a lot done. We do see the DTs bypassing into the natural. DisK, very quick response time. Look at that warp in. And he's going to be able to answer that with 10 zealots. And now he'll actually start chasing this. This is a speed observer. He blinks back home and says, I want to kill these DTs. Oh, and he is going to break a heavy toll. But the disruptor's kind of left on the right side. However, with so many shots available, there isn't really a big opportunity to punish. I think he only got maybe 2 of the disruptors, and he still paid a pretty heavy toll for that. Resources lost. Take a look at it. That is a pretty significant advantage for DisK, and he is really managing his army well. Now he's going to have a small upgrade lead in a little bit.
Steadfast, the only one that was punished in that last fight was Astrea, losing 22 stalkers, trying to knock down these disruptors, but now he's going to go for it again, and again, he didn't blink, he blunk. 12 workers go down on the other side as well. Now it's a 50 supply lead for the Canadian Protoss.
That wasn't a blunk, that was a blork, because he just got blorked by those disruptors. They absolutely wrecked everything for Astrea. And now if we look at the number of stalkers that have gone down on each side, it is 11 for DisK, 50 for Astrea. 39 more stalkers have died.
I can't count that high. I don't understand. I can't count that high, but thank you for the number anyways. That is insane. And we do have to point out, by the way, Astrea has done a fantastic job of playing the map, being aggressive here. Disruptor shots are going to go out. Is DisK paying attention? Oh, that was a misclick from Astrea. He should have gotten so many stalkers there with the second disruptor.
Oh, my heart did a thing again. Oh, kill not a cancel on the base.
Ooh.
Nice job from Astrea. That does deny the 5th base. And Astrea still has an extra base up on his opponent. And that's why this game is not over yet. Despite DisK having a significant advantage in the resources lost, like almost double efficiency, and having an army supply advantage and an army value advantage, this game is not over by any stretch.
And sometimes I would love to be able to pull up like total resources accrued in a game, just while we're in game, which seems like a really useful stat for us to figure out what's exactly happening here. But for now, DisK also has DTs on his side of the arm in the game, really, and the cannons. Well, one of them will go down, but DTs actually, they're reaping a heavy price on these stalkers. Disruptors coming in from the left side, but DisK says that's fine. I'll just rotate on over to the right side here. And now, oh, wait a minute. No, he's not going to get anything, just out of range. And now most of, as the DTs blink on in, trying to knock this cannon down before the defensive DTs arrive, and they will be successful in doing so. So you just got a bunch of DTs standing there. Now Disruptors on the right side here, just trying to knock down the Disruptors, but instead it's DisK that takes the positive trade here. But now the Stalkers of Astrea, they blink forward, but the splits are not good enough on the back end. There are just so many of those combustible balls here for DisK. And now Astrea below 100 supply. It is all gone pear-shaped in this game, too, in the blink of an eye. Economy be damned. The trades are just not good enough anymore, Steadfast. DTs, they're killing the economy anyways. Truly, the economy is damned at this point. 88 supply to 161. I don't see an avenue for Astrea in this game. Now he's going to try to get more Disruptors, and he still loses the Stalkers.
I have an update on the Stalker watch. It is now 18 to 86. 18 to 86 Stalkers. The resources lost is double. It is full on double. Astrea, he is playing well, but DisK is playing out of his mind right now. Some of the best army control you can see. This is looking so impressive out of DisK. Oh, and he's going to blink forward. He's going to find all 3 Disruptors, and Astrea's army gets deleted. DisK evens the series at 1 apiece.
At best, I have sad news for you. Horrifying news. Astrea GG'd out at 96 Stalkers dead. We did not hit 100.
It's close. We were on the verge of greatness.
Well, I mean, DisK, he tore Astrea around the map at the end of the game with incredible grace. So yes, graceness indeed, Steadfast. Well done.
That was a wild game. That was a wild game, and that's part of the reason why I picked DisK. Like, you know, like I know that Astrea on paper is the favored player, but I have seen DisK, once he gets up to a maxed army, he is so good with his unit retention. And we saw that. Only losing 18 Stalkers in a game like that is wild.
I actually don't comprehend. But that's what's fun about this. We, as casters, we just get to sit here and enjoy the absolute insanity of these games. And while I did say Astrea, probably 3-1, I'm that confident in his play right now, and I'm that confident in how he feels he is that confident about this setup. We got to remember, DisK played Deeb incredibly closely. That was a fantastic 2-1 to determine who was top in that group, in Group B, in the group stage. So I'm not surprised to see him doing this. It is so impressive.
It is an extraordinary performance out of DisK so far, and he is really working these disruptor wars, doing an extraordinary job. And now we've got Curious Minds for game number 3. I don't want to wait any longer. I want to get right into it.
I'm impatient. Let's go. Game number 3. It's here, and hopefully it's going to be another 20 minutes of madness. But first, folks, we have to introduce our players in the upper left, in the blue, playing some insane games in the first 2, Astrea.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom right for Apprentice Esports, it is DisK.
He absolutely defragmented Astrea in game 2.
He sure did.
Actually, I guess he fragmented Astrea. because Astrea's economy was in pieces by the end of that game.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
That is much more correct, I believe. That was such a cool game. That was an absolute delight.
No, it's actually well lit. Light has not been removed, steadfast, but thank you. Good try.
This is the version of Lord of the Rings where Sam doesn't pull Frodo back up.
Just leave me in Shelob's lair. Like, finally, I'm done with this idiot. Okay, we're good. Although, wasn't it Sam that had the light of, what was it, Arendelle? The
light of Arendelle
in the vase?
Yep. Yeah.
So, you know.
Yep.
It truly would be, Sam leaving then would be delightful.
Ah. Damn it. Oh, man. We are going to be seeing the 1-gate setup here from Astrea. DisK, he's going for that 2-gate once again. He says, "Nah, I'm not really fond of this. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like going up against this." And I think you said it best. He doesn't want to go for the Phoenix versus Phoenix. But at the same time, if you're not going to do that, Astrea won't. I feel like you can get away with it too.
I mean, maybe he's just worried about, it's one of those things, right, where you go Phoenix, and either if you do commit to it, you just kind of own the skies and make it really hard for your opponent to play the game. Wait, is that the third pylon that he's canceled? That's gonna be a third one. That is, we normally see it stop at 2, but that's almost a pylon in terms of canceled pylons right now. And Astrea still has this natural faster. I don't know that 75 minerals is worth really a minimal delay on that third pylon.
It is most definitely very costly. There's a reason why, MaxPax did everything he could to get the 1-gate expand setup going. It's that it puts you into a really great position going into the mid game. Like, it's really, really good as an opening build.
We're just gonna have to see whether this 2-gate time or this 2-gate timing that DisK has, because it did open 2-gate expand, is gonna get much of anything. With the pressure, sometimes you can punch through, but not really what's happening in this game. But now Astrea, he has done the same thing we said. This really is a mirror image of game 1. We have the Stargate and the quicker Twilight compared to normal Stargate openers. So he's able to get the blink pretty much right around that same time that DisK makes it happen. And steadfast, we gotta remember here, Astrea won the game where he had this minor eco lead going into the early game. I'm not going to say that the single gate opener had anything to do with how that game happened, that game ended. But you know what? That's how it happened.
I mean, we can claim that. We can say 100%. And we can even use the term 100%. That's what caused it. We can just ignore reality and make it what we want. That's the beauty of being a caster. Reality can be whatever I want.
Well, I think that player is actually retired, so yes, he can be whatever he wants at this point. I don't know what he's doing. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Oh, man. Both players going 4 gates, by the way, before a third Nexus. That's something that we saw Neeb doing a little bit, and it allows you to do a fair bit of aggressive... it gives you a lot of aggressive potential. You don't have to do something with it, but you can do a lot with it. Oh, never mind. DisK adding on an additional gateway. And Astrea going for a proxy. Hang on, are we just going to see like a big old Blink Stalker war?
I'll buy it. Please give that to me. That is something that I do think we actually really have to favor DisK here. I was talking about at game 1 about just how high in regard DisK's Blink Micro is seen in the North American scene. And he's the one that has positive, he has positive ping. He's the one we're playing on, I believe, we're playing on Central or West because, of course, DisK is on the East Coast of Canada and Astrea is in Korea. What are we actually on?
I believe it's West.
We're on West for this game. But even still, this is more ping that Astrea had to deal with even than when he was playing against Neeb, and Neeb did win that game. So, yeah, is that going to be the biggest thing? Who knows? But certainly, if you are that confident in your blink control, absolutely take that advantage. Take every small bit of an advantage that you can find.
Yeah, and it's a Wise way to play. Now, because Astrea went for the 4 gates before the 3rd Nexus, he will be better prepared for this than he might otherwise be, but it is still going to be a pretty significant Stalker advantage. Oh, this double Adept could get a lot done. There is no wall at the front. DisK, I mean, he is going to need to get a lot done with this. Shield Battery will be very relevant here, and some nice force fields are going to force back some very quick defensive blinks. Oh, will the Stasis Ward go off? That is going to be potentially huge. Adepts have not yet... Oh, there we go. They do go into the natural just now, and they are going to get into a nasty position. They're going to take a heavy toll on DisK's worker count. DisK was already heavily committed. Now he is very, very committed.
Ooh, Stasis Trap doesn't really work out here, which is a bit of a problem. When another Stasis Trap goes in, Stalkers target that down, but that means they're not using their shots on these Stalkers of Astrea. But Astrea still, he feels like he's in danger in this game. The probes are getting pulled, but it actually is a really nice arc for Astrea right now, and we're going to see him maybe just blink on top of this army in just a second. He has the Stalker, at least equivalency, and he does have the shield battery, keeping himself a little bit safe, but we don't have a shield battery overcharge. It has been popped, and 6 gates to 4 does make a significant difference. Oracle flying in now, adding on that little bit of additional damage, and 10 probes fall. So maybe DisK less all in than he was otherwise, but even still, Astrea with a 12 worker lead here. DisK again trying to punch his way on through. It's now a 7 gate Blink Stalker all in. He's added an additional one, committing to this even harder. And Steadfast, I don't even think you could warp in 7 gates consistently on 35 probes.
You certainly cannot. He does transfer a couple of those probes from the main base to the natural, but as a result of having lost some of his workers, that is what is keeping this, that's what's keeping this from hitting its full aggressive potential. But Astrea hasn't added on more gateways. He's still building probes, and those aren't going to help him during the fight. Another aggressive warp in going to be very nice. But at the moment, there are a couple more Stalkers here, I think, for Astrea, or pardon me, for DisK. The probes are on follow on top of this Astrea's army, but the defender's advantage is still quite significant here for Astrea.
And Steadfast, we got to remember, even if Astrea's 3rd base is not mining whatsoever, even if the probes are just part of this army, Astrea is mining more out of the main and the natural right now on top of everything else. So now probes running forward. Astrea, he has to take this fight. At least he's got to trade somewhat evenly, and he's doing such a good job of keeping his Stalker count even. 18 to 18 here. Yeah, he lost 10 workers, but DisK has lost 11. He's down to 24. Astrea, honestly, at this point, does not even need to keep this 3rd base alive. He would like to, but all that matters is just not dying, is winning the fight. These Adepts continue. They continue to find damage, but Astrea now, he's going to get caught kind of in a corner. The concave for DisK right now is simply better, so Astrea is going to have to retreat back home, but really can't find his way through the wall. He's going to have to spend a blink, which means, well, DisK is going to start to trade better for just a little bit, and the shield battery is already out of energy. Shield battery overcharge is still on cooldown, and now DisK trying to punch his way on in. 16 Stalkers to 13. Probe's going to get pulled out of the natural, but DisK has no money. Astrea 2-1.
Man, oh man, those Adepts saved Astrea's bacon. They saved the entire pig. They saved the ham. They saved everything from the, cute little snout to the wiggly little tail. That was this close, even with all that damage, to still be a breakthrough from DisK. And if I'm Astrea, I'm a little bit scared after that. But we're going to take a little break, come back, and we will be back for game number 4.
Oh, good. So we've had about 3 minutes. My heart rate is somewhere, shape, or form back to normal. At least my watch is telling me so. But that's just in time for us to move into game 4 again, Steadfast. These games have been just absolute bangers.
Oh, they have been so good, so down to the wire. All 3 of them really just extraordinarily exciting. And I can't wait to see what happens here as we get into Berlingrad. So we have spawning up at the top left for Alpha X. It is Astrea.
In the bottom right, in the red, trying to drag us into madness once again. He is the accretion DisK. Just had to get that one out of my system. Thank you for understanding, Steadfast.
Of course. I'm sure there's I'm sure that's the only one you'll have. Yeah. I'm sure there's gonna be no more memes from here on out, right? Of course not.
Absolutely no memes. Thank you for stealing my bedroom, by the way. I do appreciate it.
Oh, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah, you stole my bedroom.
Did I? Wait.
Yeah.
Where'd mine go?
Oh, it's we traded. It's great. It's I really like it in here. You know, the basement works really. It looks really nice.
Exactly. It's comfy, you know? It's like It's the show trading spaces, but we put it on Twitch.
And trading spaces, caster versus caster.
I want to trade with Geralt.
Honestly,
I wanna trade
like,
spaces with him.
You know, when we were on both sides, when we were both on Psystorm, there was talk about just moving the entire team into Geralt's bedroom, and that would be the team house.
That would have been pretty nice, that's for sure. The only thing is, what would we have done with the rest of the room?
You know, maybe make it a theme park.
That would be pretty nice. What would the theme of our theme park be, though? I think mustaches would have to be it, you know?
Yeah. At least you'd have like a slide that just is the contour of Geralt's mustache.
Man.
Too far gone.
So you slide down and it randomizes which side you go down, and it just shoots you off into the rest of the park. You just hope for the best.
Yeah, you know, that's just how it works sometimes. Sometimes you just go shooting off into the land of DTs, and sometimes you go shooting off into something maybe a little bit more realistic and less trauma-inducing.
Oh, man. There is a lot of nightmare fuel coming out of the Protoss arsenal. You've got literally getting killed by invisible men. You've got the concept of because disruptors canonically, I think it's either the radius or the diameter of the explosive balls is 3 kilometers. It's a lot.
Oh, yeah. The whole purifier thing is like, yes, these are robots that were just too bloodthirsty, so we had to lock them away. Something like that. But now we're back, and that is great for the state of the sector.
It certainly is.
It's okay. I mean, we all know, look, Protoss, they are already horror movies in and of itself. They look down on people with mouths. People that can actually eat. They say, no, these are inferior beings. And anyone that doesn't have a mouth, I just don't want to interact with. That is horrible.
We're going to talk about this game, by the way, a little bit. We're doing the meme, but there's actually some kind of spicy stuff happening.
Ooh, yeah,
we got
right.
a couple of adepts moving across the map. They both went for a quick 2-gate robo in to expand. I thought one of them was going to go for an aggressive robotics facility, 3-gate robo all in. But looks like we're not going to be seeing that. The loss of this pylon will supply block Astrea here. That's kind of a big deal.
That it is, and it's interesting because the story I was hearing from everyone going into this game was, oh, look, DisK is standard. He just does the same stuff over and over again. That's what you got to worry about. But now here, the adepts, they find their way into the main. They're going to force a recall, and then they just don't shade in. Excellent map play there from Astrea, because now Astrea knows that DisK is going to go try to take a spot in the natural again. And there's no recall this time. So this Warp Prism with 2 adepts into it that's going to find its way in the main base now has time to make value happen, because he forced the recall out already, which is just a giga-brain play. We're going to have to see how much gets done, but certainly, like, from a tactical perspective, really cool move there. But, those warp bins are such a fantastic body block. These adepts, now they're going to get 1 worker, but they're going to get picked up running away. But still, Gotta give Astrea a shout out there. Tactically, that was brilliant.
Oh, it was incredibly brilliant. That is exactly correct. He really, really nailed it on that one. That was nice. And he might actually... Oh, hold on. The Warp Prism. Gotta be a little careful. Okay, he's gonna keep it alive. And there's no blink to punish this. And in fact, now he's going to go back into the main base. Ooh, that observer. Speaking of tactical placements, that's a really fortunate observer. He does need to be a little bit careful, though, with this army. He tries to bait with the War Prism, and now DisK, there is no recall, so he needs to be very, very careful with this army. But Force Field's on the top ramp. No, we're not going to be seeing that. We are actually just going to see, some very nice defensive Force Fields right here. Going to be able to grab one Stalker. Nice hot pickup, though. Does save the other one. Force Field's on the other side. Will catch both sentries for DisK right here. Oh, the War Prism.
War Prism. Oh, yeah, last second.
That's it. And now the Immortal's going to get jumped on here. But DisK, does he have enough? The answer is going to be absolutely yes. And he will get a Stalker on the way out. I think maybe he could have targeted down a Sentry on the way out, but still, that goes pretty well for DisK, I would say. That's actually, yeah, getting the Immortal as well. That's very good.
Oh, yeah, and that all goes down, goes back to Astrea trying to bait with the War Prism and taking a little bit of hull damage off that, which meant that that last Stalker, as it died from DisK, got one last shot off, killed the War Prism, denied every little bit of pressure, and then, well, Astrea had to back up. He had to recall. He lost more things, and for a second, by forcing those Stalkers out and finding this position where maybe he is going to be able to move into the natural, and certainly by knocking down all those sentries with that first set of force fields, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, he has the most impactful units. He has the Mortal here. He has got a Warp Prism. He's actually looking fairly good. But the same reason, that same brilliant tactical move, it bit him. And now DisK's third base is much faster. His blink is much, much faster. The world really does feel like his oyster right now.
Yeah, and, he's looking to shuck it right here and see what he can get done. We will see, these Adepts, they can actually cancel the Shade. Yeah, they're going to kill that Stalker. That's a really nice pick-off. Getting a Stalker for that is very good. I do think we are, these Adepts, they will commit forward, and it is actually going to be a couple of probes going down here for Astrea. 4 probes, not bad, not bad. Meanwhile, I believe the War Prism was trying to come across the map to get these Adepts in the main base, and they will be able to do so, but he already did lose 2 of them. And Astrea, he is now the one who is committed to quite a few more gateways. This time it will be a 3rd Nexus for the aggressive Protoss, but Astrea is absolutely going to attack and try and get something done here.
Yes, he's going to try to do something, but really this just feels like what Sun Tzu said, appear strong where you're weak, because Astrea, his blink is not done. His +1 is not done. He has so much stuff invested in just about 3 minutes from now that what he is doing by being aggressive here, or by posturing as if he's aggressive here, is steps find significant value. Warp Prism Adepts, well, hey, that's the new meta of this game, at least. It means that DisK does not feel comfortable moving across because he feels like Astrea is being more aggressive than he is. But now Stalkers blink forward. A Stalker falls, but still, Astrea has killed 7 workers. He's not going to be able to save these Adepts, it does not look like. Oh, but no, they shade into the natural, and hey, there we go. Maybe another worker, but here we go. Okay, the Zealots, they're going to be able to clean that up. And Astrea's bought himself the time. Blink is now done. +1 is now done. His army, while maybe not the most supply-heavy army right now, certainly in terms of upgrades, in terms of tech, he's pretty happy with where it is. He's weathered that storm.
Yeah, he's going to be up. The upgrade lead is pretty significant in a PvP. We know that it is. It was what allowed DisK to be in control of that game number 1 for a very, very long time. Ultimately wasn't able to win it, but it gave him many, many opportunities. Now, that was a 2 upgrade lead for a lot of it. Ooh, nice little find here on this left side. Will find this War Prism. Good job from DisK. And I think he's actually going to be able to kill both those Adepts before they shade forward. But Astrea will sneak into the natural expansion. DisK is not for, his army's actually in a good position, so he's totally fine. Oh, I don't know about that blink forward, though. The force fields, not as good as they could be, but still getting a couple of Stalkers for it.
Unfortunately, unlike some Protoss, which are just always maestros, Picassos of the force fields, Astrea kind of finger painted there just a little bit. It worked out, but it could have been more visually appealing. But again, this is just a game where Astrea is posturing. He is looking for value. +1, we talk about how good finding upgrade advantages. It often is not +1 because shield batteries just kind of tend to negate that for the most part. It's really when we hit that +2 timing where suddenly it really does start to matter a little bit. So Astrea is +2 timing not nearly as fast compared to DisK as his +1 is, but 4th base on the way, Dark Templars on the way as well. At least the Shrine is done. And we're just moving into the mid game. Or into the mid-late game here. Astrea has been able to keep himself secure. He's built all the advantages or lost all the disadvantages that he's been looking for. And in the balance of things, Steadfast, we can call this game pretty damn even.
Yeah, we certainly can. Now, this time the Adepts will get dealt with relatively quickly. I think only 2 probes. Yeah, only 2 probes going to fall. Ooh, nice observer spot here from DisK. He did pick off his opponent's observer, and Astrea, he's going to take a little bit of damage on the other side of the map, but getting the cancel on the 4th base, very, very significant, while Astrea's 4th base is already just about done. And once again, we're going to be seeing the very quick transition into Blink DTs out of Astrea. He doesn't go straight for those disruptors. He's going for the out multitasking approach. And DisK, I mean, he already showed us that he was very, very comfortable going up against that.
Also interesting going for that style in a game where you are the one with the ping disadvantage, because much like going Mass Blink Stalker or anything else that is so high on the execution cost, if you can do something in 100 milliseconds and your opponent can do it in 75, well, that's just always going to be hard for you to really do so. And yeah, sure, maybe multitasking is more macro setup. You shift a few things across the map. Even still, that is a position where it's like, okay, Astrea, is this really what you want to do given the geographical situation that you're in? I don't know. But for now, DisK finding his way onto the north side here, and he has the inside track. So now he's going to force Astrea to come up a ramp that Astrea does not necessarily want to find his way up to, but it seems like DisK is just maybe a little bit questioning about whether he wants to take this fight or not. But force field is going to be nice right now. The 4th base just going to get targeted down here, and now DisK backing up. But he's down 20 workers. All of a sudden, he's just not been probing as well as we would have liked to see him. Zealous try to find their way into the natural of Astrea, but Stalkers are there. It's not really going to get all that much. Cannon doing a damn fine job as well. And now Astrea, he has the pincer set up. DT's on the left side. We're going to see him look to push into the 4th base of DisK right now, distract him, at which point 3-4 DTs, they blink and they kill a cannon, and they really do cause chaos.
Yeah, and that's what he looked to do before. Will it work out this time? I'm not too sure. DisK is getting up into those disruptors, and here comes the DTs. 3 of them. DisK. Ooh, he's focused on the attack on the top side. We are going to see some big force fields coming on down, and it looks like this fight actually went way better for DisK. Astrea does kill off the cannon, but the fight overall, yeah, I think that went firmly in the favor of, as far as I can tell, went firmly in the favor of DisK. However, Astrea is going to be able to potentially find his base. No, he doesn't want to overstay, will back out, and that's good news for DisK, keeping that 4th base alive.
That it is. DisK got a disruptor, a flanky one on the left side, blew up about 10 stalkers, which really did swing the fight in DisK's favor a little bit. We barely saw it on screen, I think, as the DTs, they find their way on in, but cannons don't matter if you just have a observer deployed there on top of the 3rd base, which is what DisK is doing, because he's played multiple games now against the style that Astrea wants to play. He's starting to get used to it just a little bit, but again, we're seeing this game where players are just finding the inside track on bases. Astrea blinks forward, knocks that base down, but now look at the army positioning here from DisK. He's going to make it, A, he's going to run across the map and maybe just kill a base of his opponent, but B, he's making it really hard for Astrea to run back home. So in game 4, with it all on the line here for DisK, it's a base trade. He's going to knock the 3rd base down pretty quickly, but the question we ask ourselves is, can Astrea break through into the natural? We have, 2 disruptors back home right now. 3rd one will not pop out. The robo is too damn low. Is there a robo in the main base? Yes, there is, but nothing really popping out of it just yet, and 4 disruptors in that main base. But DisK, he's kind of wasting a little bit of time. He killed the 3rd base, sure, but he's not killing the 4th. He's going to try to find his way in here. Astrea on the 4th base, or what once was the 4th base of DisK as well. Steel Batter Overcharge gets depowered. DisK now blinking on top of the Stalkers of Astrea, trying to make something happen, and he is taking the fight in the natural. So another base will go down, but we're at this point where Astrea has been expanding so aggressively that, yes, Astrea and DisK have lost the same bases, but Astrea still has that base on the north side that DisK does not really feel like he has access to right now, because Astrea is finding his way on home, and this army of DisK does not have the disruptors. They've been kept at home defensively. They've been kept to ward out the army. Oh, no, wait a minute. They do. Good call there, Niall. Thank you so much. The disruptors on the high ground. If Astrea engaged. Oh, he's not, though. The game goes on.
Yeah, that could have been a very scary situation. He did know that it really has come down to the observers. So the observer of Astrea catching wind of what his opponent was doing. DisK is way up in workers, but has no bases to mine from. Whereas it is Astrea who lost so many workers there, but still keeps his 1 base alive, his new freshest base. Ooh, that is going to be a cancel on the freshest base of DisK. Disruptors. Oh, they will get, oh my God. It must have just come off cooldown for Blink right there. That was razor's edge. to being a devastating shot. We do have to talk about the Stalker count, though. It is 45 to, well, with a warp in there now, 27 for 28, in fact, for DisK. So this is going to be difficult to maneuver against for DisK right now, and he doesn't know where his opponent's army is. Okay, now he does. That actually assimilator was very valuable.
One thing I want to point out, though, DisK has been spending all of his robo energy, all of his robo time on these disruptors because he recognizes that at least his opponent can't really attack into where his army is with disruptors there. But that also means up until a moment ago, he was only on one observer, which, okay, fine. You know, your opponent doesn't have disruptors, maybe less of a problem. But with Astrea finding so much value in these DTs and in just committing so much to these DTs as, flanking disruptor, Astrea loses only 2 Stalkers. That could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. While your opponent is committing so heavy to this DT tech, only having 1-2 observers it just really complicates this game.
Yeah, it certainly does. And now we are, in fact, down to 1 observer versus 2 at the moment. The other thing is Astrea is starting to use, he's still got a couple of sentries left over from the early game, so he's starting to use hallucinations, which is, of course, a very, very valuable ability to have. You love the Guardian Shield, but the hallucinations can be even better. Ooh, the cannon was killed off earlier. If those 2 DTs can get in on top of the mineral line during a big fight, oh god, they're both on move command. Disruptor will come on in, does get a single Stalker, could have been so much, but now this is going to open the path up here for the Zealots on the top side. DT is going to warp in defensively, but this will be a fair number of probes getting picked off. Just as Astrea started to get his production back online, the Zealots, they're going to get picked off on the front line here for DisK, but Astrea will be able to retreat on out. DisK cannot force the engagement that he's looking for, but he blinks in, takes down 1 Immortal. I don't know if he wants to go up this ramp. This is a pretty decent concave, but the Disruptors will continue to force Astrea back into the corner, and he does not want to get cornered right here.
No, he does not, but all the strength of his army, the Immortals, they're all gone. It's just Stalkers. Oh, but the Disruptors, they're a little bit exposed. Astrea, he's not going to blunk again. He made that mistake in game 2, but the flank, steadfast. Oh, pay attention here, Astrea. Is he paying attention? A rock in a hard place. There's nowhere for him to go, but he blinks on top of the Disruptors now. Does he have that target fire? He's going to get a couple, but a shot hits DisK with a 40 army supply now, but he's losing his economy on the other side. Those DTs you talked about, they've killed 12. DisK, he's got to chase this army down now. He has a temporary advantage, but one that will not last the rest of this game. So can he chase the army down? Can he chase it to a game number 5? He's got inside track into the 3rd base here. Astrea feeling properly zoned out, even as the Disruptors have fallen, because there's an Immortal there. It adds so much firepower to the 3rd base of Astrea. Once again, it does fall, but Astrea on the high ground here. Zealots warping in as well. Something please to buffer for these Stalkers, because DisK just is playing a game of time. Astrea, he lasts another couple minutes. He's going to be okay because DisK has no money, but Steadfast again. Base trade part 2. The Stalkers on the right side knocking down an observer. DisK only has 1 remaining. Probes are getting pulled. I don't know who wins this game anymore. It's getting so chaotic.
It absolutely is. DisK does have a significant army supply lead, but is it going to be enough? He's got 2 observers. We're going to be paying close attention to that, because the DTs, it doesn't matter what the army supply is, if you don't have anything that detects these DTs, they could suddenly just win the game. And we see both players are not mining very well at all, but Astrea gets this base up on the left side, and he has still a fair number of workers there. If he can keep that base up and running for a little while, he can catch up in the army supply, but he doesn't have much gas in the bank, so it's not like he can warp in a ton of Stalkers. DisK, he needs to go right now.
Key thing here, Astrea was able to squeak out +3 attack at some point in this game. I'm not really sure when. But DisK also knows, and a 30 army supply lead, really nothing to shake a stick at. That is 9 Stalkers in the lead here. DisK now just looking for the opportunity. Where does he go? Does he go on the main base, force the fight there? Does he find his way down the ramp? There are no shield batteries here right now, so the Stalkers, they're just going to blank on top of it. They say no stat defense. By 1 Disruptor is looking to punish any Stalkers that blank, forcing him back. And now here come the Stalkers. There's 1 observer with this army. No DTs right now. DT only on the other side. DisK now blinking in, sensing this is his fight. This is his opportunity. Probes are getting pulled to put Astrea into the winners, the losers, finals. Is the concave good enough? Astrea's army supply, it's falling down here. It's 3 probes to 1. The Stalkers are falling. Only 10 army supply remains. Astrea, now he's running away. The DT is not going to be enough anymore. And Steadfast, DisK, biting, clawing, tearing through some way I don't know. He takes us to a game 5.
And DisK has got to be feeling himself now. That was an excellent, excellent game. What an amazing series, an amazing showing from these two. Neither of them giving an inch. They are battling like their life depends on it. And man, oh man, we have been treated to now. This is my 3rd game 5 of the day. I am so excited. These players are putting it all on the line.
I thought I was cursed, Steadfast. I did one best of 5 today before this series, and it was a 3-0. It was kind of stompy. Like, oh, great. You know, I did every lower round 2, and they were all 3-0s. I mean, I guess Laser Skillless was a 3-1. It's like, great. You know what? It's all my fault. I'm so sorry, folks at home. But I'll trade all those games. I'll trade all those 3-0s because this has been a freaking banger of a PvT. I need a nice, cool glass of water to calm me down, but we don't have time for that because we're going to get into game 5 in just a second. It is the biggest map in the pool. And these players have shown us when the game goes late, when we get past 15 minutes, when it gets expansive as hell, they just show fireworks. They show us some of the best PvP that we can watch. And what a map to end it on.
Yeah, it's a huge one. A lot of opportunities to, make moves with Blink DTs. There's lots of opportunities to hide disruptors in the fog on the high ground. Some angles you can blink around. Like this is an excellent map for us to go into, considering the series these two have played.
Oh, and Steadfast, even better. We've got another series after this. We got full NA action. It's going to be Neeb versus Scarlet after this series. This is too much to handle. And then we have, arguably the second best PvZ player in the world, at least in the West, according to Scarlet, going up against Scarlet to determine who faces the winner of this series versus the loser of that next series. And if this was not enough, I mean, Scarlet versus Neeb are always incredible games. Man, what a way to end the day. We're not even there yet, but what a promise of a way to end the day.
Oh, absolutely. This feels like the appetizer to the potential main course, but I gotta say, if this is the appetizer, it is damn good.
It is an amuse-bouche, which is my favorite alternate word for an appetizer. Amusing the mouth, gotta wake it up.
Well, my bouche is certainly amused, I will say that. As it is going to be Glittering Ashes. These two players, man, they are really gutting this one out. You can feel the determination and the desire from both of them to move on. And I have got to say, I hope that this lives up to the rest of the series.
Yeah, that's always the problem, right? When you have 4 epic games, then you get to game 5 and you're like, well, someone proxied DTs, nothing happens, the game's over, and it's like, okay, great. That is, I cannot imagine with the way these games are going, with how these players look to play the games, right? They are these intensely macro-heavy players. Astrea told me, DisK plays macro, I play macro. I'm just gonna beat him in the late game. Well, that's only worked twice. But we're gonna have to see if it happens a final time here, because folks, a map to end all maps, at least in this series, it is a Glittering Ashes, and in the bottom right, looking to ascend, he is Astrea.
And his opponent, spawning up at the top right for Apprentice Esports, looking to make his mark. It is the French-Canadian DisK. Trying to channel that Poutine power and send himself in to the top 3 of NA, cracking a triumvirate that has been pretty much unassailable for the last 2 years, basically all of the DreamHack Masters since that came into fruition. So this would be a huge win if he could do so. Oh, cute little move right here. Hides the probe. Wants to see if his opponent is scouting. And I suppose is he going to hide a building with this probe?
I really thought he was going to proxy something on the high ground right there. But
yeah.
The positioning of this, it says it's either going to be proxy Stargate, or he's just going for Schrodinger's pylon. The whole, I only have one pylon in my main base. You don't know what I'm building. Like, you got to be careful. The interesting thing, though, is that's not something he's done all series. Now, that's something that, and there we go, Schrodinger's pylon coming up. He's not keeping the probe there. So it's not like he's spent 4 games in the series trying to build the idea that he proxies things on the map. And then this is the first time he's not.
No, exactly. This is something that would make me think that this was actually a proxy. Like, this is a... Oh, man. I like the way that Astrea has done this. Oh, and he's built the Zealot. I think... Wait, no, he just didn't have the gas? Wait, why is he trying to make it look like... Okay, I feel like this might actually just be like the deepest level of mind games, where he wanted DisK to notice that the gateway was not building for like a quarter of a second, or even like 0.1 of a second, and then just... It's like all for nothing, but it's just trying to get DisK to overreact a little bit. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, because otherwise, why would you even do that, you know? Oh, but it's gonna come to naught anyways. It's gonna get scouted. Oh man, that 8D backgammon turning into just a regular game of tic-tac-toe.
You know, and I don't know if you saw the video of the tic-tac-toe robot a while ago that said, "Oh yes, yeah, I'm gonna draw a tic-tac-toe, and then I'm going to like I'm just gonna draw a third X like off the board, and then, there we go, 3 in a row." Well, we're gonna have to see if that happens. But Astrea has been really active, and yeah, there we go. He's going to drop a pylon on that high ground position. And he's not going to proxy anything again. So it just seems like he really values seeing what goes through the middle of the map, which is incredibly valid, but not something I see happen all that often. I just from actually committing resources to putting something there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a strange move. I'm very curious about it. Like, it might be what you're talking about, but that is a bit of an expensive commitment, especially since one pylon is already likely to go down. Okay, it is going to be a couple of adepts warping in at that middle of the map pylon. So maybe that's what it is. He's like, oh, you won't expect an additional pylon. And that's what he's going for, is like the hidden adept warp in. And in fact, we will see 4 stalkers moving across the map, the Oracle on the other side as well. There's no units at home at the moment for DisK.
Yeah, that's a bit scary. Now, the probe is in position, so it can go and prevent the adepts from finding their way into the main base, assuming that DisK is paying attention. But now, good force field, Astrea trying to take advantage, but instead he just loses a stalker. So really not finding all that much, but adepts in the main base. And that's a bit of a problem. Recall forced immediately. 3 workers will go down, and a stalk. Ooh, stalker barely does not fall, but still 5. 5 workers will go down, but on the other side, DisK looking to capitalize on the chaos. He gets 4 workers of his own. Shield battery in the main base, but you can still punch through that. He opts not to, though. But DisK is down. Only 2 workers different, but DisK is down 7 because his natural was delayed just a little bit.
Yeah, that's a significant difference. I was not expecting there to be this much of a worker lead from the early game. Astrea must have been really on top of his chrono boost, must have been really on top of his pro production here. And I mean, as DisK, now you kind of have to get something done here. That is too much of a worker lead to not do anything about. Maybe it's just, a couple of pickoffs with the Oracle, but at the same time I say that, but it feels like he's been in that situation all series long, and he has made the moves necessary to, come back from economic disadvantages.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's a map you come back from economic disadvantages on Steadfast, it is Glittering Ashes. It just, if there's any map in the pool, I know I talk about this a lot, but if there's any map in the pool that says, yeah, actually what happens in the first 10 minutes almost doesn't matter because you're not breaking 3 or 4 bases. It just, the ramps are there, the map is too big. It really is this one. And yeah, maybe it's a little different because you can warp things in PvP, but even still, an ability to come back, the fact it's Glittering Ashes, and the fact that this Oracle is still active on the map. We saw how much damage Astrea got with his in game 1. Well, I'm certainly not willing to call this game over just yet.
Oh, certainly not. No, not even close. It's more just like it's an uncomfortable disadvantage to be down that many probes. DisK, though, is going to go for a bit of a 4-gate aggressive move. And Astrea did not go for the extra gateways that he went for in the previous games. And, we will see this. This is pretty costly, actually. Astrea will get supply blocked by that a little bit. DisK is going to macro out of this. He should be in a fine position. But this is still kind of uncomfortable right here for Astrea. I don't know if he's actually going to be able to hold this Nexus. Oh, never mind. He's got an Immortal.
Yeah, he should be able to dodge out of that one right now. Still a bit awkward as, well, nice blinks here from DisK right now. Fanning out to a fantastic concave. But you're right. The Immortal plus the Guardian Shield, so the Immortal becomes even more immortaler. Is that a thing? Certainly. That's making that hard. But DisK, again, he's going to try to move in once again now that Guardian Shield has been spent. Maybe hoping that Astrea is not paying attention, but the Immortal is still there. But that's still a decent amount of Stalkers there, Steadfast. Shield battery overcharge gets popped. So again, we see DisK back up. Oh, there we go. Start of the Oracle starting to find value. Half the mineral line of the main, not able to mine for the next little bit of time.
That is a massive stasis ward right there. Really, really gigantic and getting a lot of work done. And that's the kind of thing he needs to find. Oh, as the double adept comes on in, we'll be able to get a decent bit of damage done. DisK gets one probe on the other side, but he is taking pretty heavy damage from these adepts. This is starting to look, oh my god, this is starting to look very painful. And he's going to shade into the main as well. We'll be able to find another probe as well. DisK, not like this.
You're right, Steadfast. This game, DisK's chances looking like a pane of glass, or looking like a sheet of glass, because that was pretty painful.
Oh my god.
But in all seriousness, it is becoming rather difficult for DisK here. Now, maybe if he goes and finds value with those adepts, which warp in right on top of a bunch of stalkers, and maybe he finds value with the Oracle, which is really only delayed mining, not actually killed workers and found tangible, actual damage, and maybe he can still make something happen. But it feels like at this point, DisK's attempt to be aggressive right now really are not going to bear much fruit. He just has to buy time. This game probably has to go to, what, 15 minutes now if DisK has a shot to win it, just because of how heavy the economic losses have been.
At the very least, he needs to make some moves, or he needs to, go up into disruptors once again, try and slow the game down a little bit, I think, like you said. But Astrea is not getting too aggressive himself. Oh, tries to snipe the Observer, will get it. So there's that. Oh, and that's the kind of move that I'm looking for right there. That's a huge stasis ward right there. Nice defensive counter blink right there from DisK, and it's only a 5-probe lead at this point. This is actually going better for DisK than I expected. Oh, very aggressive blink forward. Was that a bait?
I'd buy it. Certainly there. DisK trying to take advantage of the fact that there was an Immortal in that War Prism, 2 for 1. But that did not work out. Pros tend to be very good at scouting where observers are, so I would not be surprised, but also Astrea has not dealt with that observer, so again, I don't really know. I'm not sure we ever will know unless we interview Astrea at the end of this game, if Astrea does win. But DisK also, he stopped probing. He's on 53. He has not really been built any probes for the last little bit of time. I mean, that may just be because with 53, he's fully saturated at that third base. His gas isn't done yet, so he'd rather spend that in other things. But he also has an Immortal kind of stuck in the main base, not really part of the army. And you do want every little bit of supply here, especially as you were trying to be aggressive. DisK now, he scouts the 4th, and he will see that. And the other thing we got to point out, we don't have any disruptor play coming in from Astrea. He's getting active on Charizard Archon, but he only has 2 Archons on the field. Actually, they're not even done. DisK has a ton of Charizards in this game, and he has at least 1 Archon. So this army that he has, he wants to add more Archons, but defensively, this is really not the worst situation for our Canadian Protoss.
No, it's not that bad at all. But a couple of Zealots are going to sneak into the natural expansion. Those could be very disruptive. At the very least, this will be a cancel on the 4th. And DisK really can't be here at this point. Looks like picking off the Archons is huge, though, and forcing those away is very, very nice. But DisK not going to be able to force the fight initially. He will be forced to warp in defensively in the main base, and the shield battery will keep these Zealots alive for the moment. So that is something for DisK. And, once again, I keep feeling like he should be out of this game, and then something happens and he's fine. Oh, he finds the War Prism. Oh!
He found it. He knows it's there.
Yeah, he does.
But Oracle flies in. I mean, Oracle's this serious. Unfortunately, DisK will sacrifice that. I don't know that it's worth just 4 probes. I was going to say, man, Oracle's Steadfast this series have been just so value. They've been so value. But, when you sacrifice it, I don't know that we're going to see DisK make another. And the big benefit, the big winner out of that fight was the fact that, or that sequence of events was the fact that Astrea, he has his 4th base up. and DisK had his cancel. So now DisK feeling maybe comfortable, feeling maybe it's necessary to get active on the map right now. Moving out here. War Prism, though, not done. So he's not going to be able to get too much aggressive without that reinforcement potential.
Yeah, no, you wanna chill at the very least, and he definitely doesn't want to attack into his opponent's +2 timing when his +2 is not yet done. The other thing to consider is that the War Prism for Astrea is still there on the right side, and it will start to move in on the 4th base. No, just checking on it as much as anything. DisK, I mean, he's getting into his own double disruptor production as well, and in fact, Astrea only has 2 disruptors on the field, so it's not that big of a lead here for Astrea. DisK trying to get a higher quality army up and not looking to max out, but that does mean that Astrea just has, you know, a lot more army supply in general at the moment. Actually, as I say that, all the gas bank just got spent for DisK.
Yeah, he got himself 3, 4 more Archons, which is, you know, a great way to deal with all the Zealots that Astrea has, but Archons, they do truly pop to disruptors here. So that is something that DisK is going to have to be aware of as this fight happens. A couple Zealots will fall. And we've been paying attention to that War Prism. It's not doing much just yet. I almost feel like I just want to see DisK chrono out a Phoenix, go use it, kill the War Prism, and then use it to lift a disruptor. And that's the value that you found. But here comes Astrea right now, at least denying the 5th base, because Astrea has his own on the way disruptor shots moving out. But DisK is paying attention, but we are seeing the value that disruptors represent. They can knock down half HP on an Immortal through the shields. They can start to do significant damage to the Archons and really invalidate them. And this army that DisK has made, you talked about it wanting to be more powerful, find more value, be a more expensive army. Well, Archons, as expensive as they are, they really don't matter once we're truly into that Blink Stalker Disruptor stage. But now Stalkers blink forward, Disruptors, they're going to be okay.
They certainly are, and it is where... Ooh, here comes the drop into the main base. DisK will blink on top of this, and will... Oh, can he find the War Prism? No, nice job from Astrea. Good micro right there, both on the Zealots. I think he picked one up and dropped it in order to body block the Stalkers. That was a beautiful micro move from Astrea. And now these 4 Zealots are just kind of marooned in the main base, which is very funny, but they will eventually either get cleaned up or get something out. Oh, the Disruptors! Oh, the Disruptor! Oh my God.
Oh man, but in this late gamer, this approaching late game scenario that we have set fast, we're starting to see Astrea really show the strength of what his play is. Stargate's added in, +1 air. He's moving into carries, he's moving into Tempests, and that is where you want to talk where Astrea has shined, where in every matchup, really, he has always been a fan of the fist in the sky. And he's being allowed to get there. That is how he's looking to leverage this advantage, as this actually should tell DisK a lot. The fact that the Zealots, they run in and they beeline on top of the Stargate, which is going to, of course, delay any additional, well, it doesn't delay Stargates, but it does delay Fleet Beacon. That actually should be a massive tell here for a DisK about what's going to happen. But just because your opponent goes mass Stargate steadfast doesn't mean you have to as well. We have seen, Disruptors there. That's going to be 3, or 2 of them are going to go down. That's a positive trade indeed. Just because your opponent goes Stargate doesn't mean that you have to. We've seen mass Stalker play be pretty successful in these asymmetric styles.
It certainly can be, yeah, especially if you can catch your opponent before they have that critical mass of carriers. If you can get in there, they only have, 1, 2, 3 carriers out. It's before that point where they get up to like 5, 6, 7, 8 carriers. You can absolutely deal with this with a ground army, especially with really good disruptor shots, and that is what DisK's name of the game has been. Nice evasion right there from Astrea. DisK does complete his +3 weapons, and that is, of course, going to even up the upgrades for the moment. Disruptors, going to come in from the flanks. Neither one of them going to connect, but DisK will kind of push Astrea back. However, Astrea, going for a little Zealot run by here on the natural expansion, but here comes DisK. Oh my God, that's a lot of cannons, though. Oh, and the Disruptor gets picked off.
Have blink.
Oh, no, they don't. Oh, that's a really big problem. Those DTs are not going to be able to get what they're looking for done. Meanwhile, we see a very aggressive move coming on in, and the Warping defensively will be good. Oh, the Disruptors! Oh, DisK takes a huge shot to the face, and another one coming in from the side for Astrea. This might be the fight that Astrea was looking for. He's going to find the 5th base, and will blink forward, takes down all the Disruptors of DisK. DisK getting caught with his Disruptor separated away from his army.
And this is certainly the fight that secures Astrea's position into that carrier attack. And for a while, we're looking at this, it's like, okay, well, maybe DisK warps in a bunch of stocks, is able to start getting aggressive on the map when so much of Astrea's supply is stuck there in production. But now +1 air is done. Now we have 2 carriers, soon to be 3 on the map, soon to be 5 and 6 as Astrea continues to bolster that supply forward. And when you hit 6 carriers, especially with +2, especially with +2 shields, it becomes so hard to fight them. You actually just cannot fight them straight up with this Stalker setup, especially with all these disruptors here. You really just start to have to play this bounce around the map pinball style. And Astrea has done such a good job of disallowing, really, DisK from moving anywhere on the map, from keeping him down, that this really does feel like just a slow constriction from Astrea in Game 5. He had his fun in the first 4 games. We had the chaos, we had the base trades, but when it all matters, he's playing this as safe as you possibly can.
He certainly is, but DisK, look at this. He's going to be able to get some big moves done with the DT warp into the main. Will force a recall, and a nice job from Astrea. Does manage to take out the Warp Prism right there, and disruptors. Astrea, good awareness right here, but DisK avoiding, I think, all the shots from those disruptors. Very impressive. And that's the thing, DisK's army retention is so incredibly good. He is so patient that you need to answer it in kind. Astrea was very wild in the first couple of games, and it has cost him, so it's good to see him making some adjustments here on the fly.
That he is, and great positioning there, just with a little bit of his army that, quite honestly, is just not all that useful anymore. All the charge lots and the Archons. I mean, maybe you get a decent amount of Archons that deal with the Interceptors well enough in a pinch, but realistically, that army that DisK has on the left side, really, actually, I'm sorry, wait, never mind. That was Astrea's army. He's trying to sacrifice it. I'm sorry, I can't tell the difference for blue versus red, apparently. And this is actually going to cause the problem because DisK, he needs to keep this army together, and that is still a scary army that Astrea has. So we will kill the 5th base. He's going to force a large portion of DisK's army to deal with these Immortals and these Archons. The Disruptor shots. Now, wait a minute here. How many Stalkers do we have on the field? 23 DisK. He is steamrolling, beelining his way over now because there's only a single Disruptor. He's going to look to blink on top of these carriers right now. How many can he get on the retreat here from Astrea? He's going to get 1. Looks like he may be able to get a 2nd, resetting the count, but no, he cannot bridge the gap. He gets 1 damage on a 2nd. But Astrea, steadfast, look at the supply all of a sudden. 200 to 150. This was a massive 30 seconds for DisK.
It was huge, and we talk about that critical mass of carriers. With the loss of a couple of them, well, he does have +2 weapons, and it is a lot of carriers right here, so DisK still has to be patient. But he is very much given opportunities now in this game that he really just didn't have a couple of minutes ago. Astrea losing those disruptors, that was massive mistakes. DisK, though, he needs something that answers this mass carry, and right now, Stalkers, we're at that point where they aren't going to cut it. He needs something else that can fight this army. I think it needs to be Tempests.
Oh, steadfast, he's not trying to fight Astrea's army. He's playing the style that says, I am going to represent so much pressure on the map because carriers are slow. I'm going to represent so much pressure on the map that it allows me to mass expand as we see 2 Nexus on the way. And I'm just never going to fight your army. I'm going to kill a Stalker here. I'm going to kill a carrier there if I can. You got to be careful blinking backwards. That eventually Astrea gets whittled down. He does not have that big of a bank. So yeah, you kill some Interceptors. Maybe you get a carrier if the Disruptors are not there. Stalkers blink forward. 1 carrier goes down. Make it 2. Make it almost 3. Got to target the right ones there, and he's not going to get him. Archon's falling as well. DisK supply falls as well. You need to catch him up a little bit further off guard than that. So DisK does not get that base. He only gets 1 carrier, and he leaves some Disruptors behind to eventually fall. Yeah, Astrea actually, I guess, does not see that, but now he will. So for those Disruptors, they're maybe a little bit forfeit. But Astrea now maybe realizing that DisK has to go back. He has to build his Stalker count once again. Well, he's going to start to move across the map a little bit.
Yeah, that was... Oh, Disruptor. Okay, he does avoid it. He does know it's there. That was a really unfortunate mistake right there. We are going to see target fire on the Disruptors. Does get 2 of them. Loses a couple Archons, though. And at this point, there, like I said, there is really nothing that deals with these carriers properly. He's going to blink forward, though, on top of it. The Disruptors in the backfield are going to get some huge connections, and that is the fight that Astrea is looking for. He is looking to break through DisK. He had an opportunity, but Astrea is looking to slam the door. It's now a 40, 50, 60, 70 army supply lead here for Astrea. DisK is running out of options and running out of moves.
Running out of time as well, but that's going to be a good start. Knock down these Disruptors. That's the problem with this carrier style. It's not the carriers. Yes, there are a lot of DPS, and they're tanky as hell. But it really, the Stalkers, they blink on top, and it just carriers on their lonesome. You have to, you're maxed out on Stalkers. You will be able to kill the carriers. The problem becomes with the Stalkers, they have to blink forward because they can't just sit at the edge of things. So they have to use their blink offensively, and then the Disruptors arrive. Suddenly, all the Stalkers go down. He haven't cleared them up. DisK thought that he'd cleared out enough of the Disruptors of Astrea that he could look to take that fight and just target everything down. Now Stalkers blink forward and Disruptor falls. But he was incorrect. He did not have the correct information. And this style that he's playing, Steadfast, is so dependent on mining more, on using this pressure to take the map. But Astrea has done such a good job of denying DisK spaces, as another Disruptor will fall, that he cannot keep doing this. He's mining 2,000 minerals a minute, sure, but he is mining less than Astrea is, and this style is just designed to lose more, which is not a great calculus. But Disruptors moving on in. Is Astrea paying attention? Because DisK is on the left. Looks like it is, yes, but that's just a bunch of dead Disruptors now. The carriers are going to chase them down.
Yeah, they certainly are. And on the left, DisK was not able to find the opening that he was looking for. This is going to be the 5th base denied for what? It's got to be the 5th time at this point. This has been so many dead Nexi. And, DisK does get the advantageous Disruptor shot, so he will kill one of his opponent's Disruptors. But he needs so much more than that. And he is not being able to find this setup that he needs, this fight that he's been looking for. DisK is, I mean, he's out of money at this point, pretty much. It's Astrea, it's the Astrea show. He just needs to target down those Disruptors with the carriers, and then he can pretty much win the day from there. Ooh, Disruptor shot will get avoided. Nice job from DisK. But like I said, he is the noose is tightening.
He can't just take this, I'm going to kill a carrier. I can't play the nickel and dime game anymore. He needs to go for the whole silver dollar. And he's going to run forward. Disruptors, looks like they're only, flanking from behind here. Does not have quite the range. He was able to kill those Disruptors. Maybe he is able to blink on top of the carriers and make it happen. But Steadfast, we're past the point where even, you blink on the carriers, you kill them off, because these are +3 carriers. They have +3 shields. But Stalkers, though, they're going to find a Disruptor. Now they're going to blink on top. One carrier goes down, make it 2. But now here come the Stalkers of Astrea. They blink forward. Disruptors, are they going to be good enough? And they're going to add a couple. But it's still a 70 army supply lead. +1 air shields on the way. An upgrade we almost never see. But if you get to this point, there's really nothing much that Astrea wants to upgrade anymore. 5 carriers are on the way. Like, that is just an insane number. Now 2 DisK. He blinks out, but he needs to find some miraculous fight. I don't know that he has the complexity left in this army to make that happen.
No, he certainly does not. He's out of bases. He's out of money. He is out of options. And I don't blame him. This is his tournament life on the line. And a Disruptor shot will come on in. Does get one of the Disruptors of Astrea. He doesn't know what we know, though, which is that Astrea's got a very large bank. He's got a huge upgrade lead. He's got the carries. He will come in with another Disruptor shot and another one going to... bit of a mismicro right there from DisK. But even if he hits that Disruptor shot, I mean, what does that really do? Astrea is just... He is unassailable at this point.
That he is. Glittering Ashes is his castle, or his home, and his home is his castle. So what really are you going to do? Nothing, actually. Good game. Good luck, Maxu, he says. It was a hell of a PvP. But at the end of the day, the result is as expected.